Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Western Conference Wednesday. Today, we have the latest drama surrounding Pierre-Luc Dubois, Dustin Brown getting a statue before Kobe Bryant, and the latest Oiler to avoid arbitration.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Locked On NHL. My name's Jess Belmosto, one half of Western Conference Wednesday, and thank you so much for joining us. And on the other side of, well, I guess this is the Battle of Alberta but dynamic duo. Brett, how are you doing?
Not too bad. It's warm on this side of the Battle of Alberta today, so it's nice, warm, sunny. It's always a good day when the sun is out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I'm not in Calgary, but I can confirm that it is very warm here in upstate New York, which
Yeah.
it's fine. It's fine. We're finally out of the heat wave, so that's all I can ask for.
That's nice.
Speaking of being out of something, Pierre-Luc Dubois does not want out and did not ask for a trade from the Jets. What?
Allegedly.
I don't know what it is. I feel bad because Pierre-Luc Dubois is a good hockey player. I really liked watching him in Columbus. Saw a bit of him, I believe, during the bubble season when he was with Winnipeg. Time isn't real, so I don't remember much. But, I've always thought of him as a solid player. He was third in points on the Jets with 60, and he's only 24, which astonishes me. What do you make of his comments?
Well, I mean, let's be there are layers to this. First of all,
Yeah.
I mean, like you mentioned, it's not like he's a young player. He's got some pedigree. I mean, he was traded for the second overall pick that year in Patrick Laine. I mean, the same draft. So they're very similar, not type players, but again, pedigree, very good hockey players. But yeah, this Pierre-Luc Dubois has never been somebody to back down in the comments, I guess, or with his comments, and it's he's showing his nose again, or pointing his nose up into the air again. It's obvious he wants to play in Montreal. Well, at least his agent said so. He's like you said. He said Pierre-Luc Dubois said he didn't call for it, but.
Yeah.
I mean, it only makes sense. And it also makes sense from the Montreal Canadiens side. They would love to have a guy like Pierre-Luc Dubois. He's from Quebec as well. He's a French guy. So somebody who they would love to have, someone they would love to market and build their team around as well. The sooner this gets done, the sooner everybody could move on, right? So it's just a lot of drama that people don't want to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we kind of saw this too when he was in Columbus, but he was upfront about him not wanting to play for John Tortorella anymore. And, he did sign a 1-year, $6 million contract this past Friday. So I believe he avoided arbitration with that, which is always a good thing because, if he's already feeling bad blood towards Winnipeg, that can just boil up and kind of get worse because they have to present a case as to why he's not worth X amount of dollars. And that's really uncomfortable and awkward. But some of these comments.
I've never seen it. It's borderline. I was saying to you before, it was almost like Draisaitl Matheson-ish, where it was like, why are you so pissy, Leon? I'm not. It was almost because I believe the question that was thrown to him was questions are fairly straightforward. Why difficult to answer them? That's not exactly a question that's thrown out there in a friendly conversation.
No. And, you know, we talk all the time about how stereotypical hockey players' answers are. We
Yeah.
got to cycle the puck, pucks in deep, play a full
Yeah.
60.
Yeah.
This is a team sport. And
Stay out of the box.
for him to give a speech to answer each of these questions feels very scripted, very PR motivated, and just not genuine per se.
Yeah.
Maybe it makes you think. It really makes you think. And why would his agent put out that he wants out of Winnipeg if he doesn't?
The agents are meticulous. They don't just throw out stuff in the media and going, "Ooh, I hope this sticks to the wall." They know what they're doing. They know that if Pierre-Luc Dubois, which let's be honest here, Winnipeg isn't necessarily in the best of situations. They just got a new coach, so we'll see how the regime really blends or fixes or changes really in Winnipeg. But even you had Mark Scheifele going at the end of the season, oh, well, I have to talk to my agent and see where things stand. That didn't really set a good taste in a lot of people's mouths, I assume, especially for a guy like Pierre-Luc Dubois, who already feels like he has one foot out of the door.
Right.
Might as well just, like his agent did, just go out and go, we don't want to be here. Let's go Montreal. And,
right.
And Montreal goes, okay, sure.
Exactly. And that's the thing. A team like Montreal is not going to sit there and say, no, we're okay. This is, best if we don't travel down this avenue. This is a marketing dream for them. He's coming home. This is going to be the homecoming that everybody in Jersey and Philly thought that they were getting with Johnny Gaudreau.
There it is. There it is.
I told myself I wasn't going to talk about it, but you know what? It's fine.
Everybody can catch some strays every once in a while. It is what it is.
And that's more of a dig at Philly and Jersey than actually the Gaudreaus.
Johnny,
but
yeah,
for him to have a career season with 60 points, 28 goals, missed one game. What? I get it. I'm sure Winnipeg, I don't know what's in Winnipeg. I know they have an airport, but
do they?
Google told me they did.
Yeah.
But are we seeing the early stages of what we saw in Columbus? The player wants out.
Right.
And does Montreal have to worry about him saying, in 2 years from now, or whenever the trade happens, I want out? Is he just a team hopper?
That's what you kind of fall into a reputation. No, you kind of go, oh well, things aren't working out now. Well, okay, see ya. I'm gonna force my way out of here. Oh well, it's not really working out here. So I want to go somewhere else. Bye. You can never, even if you do it once, it's always going to track you. If you do it twice, it's almost like the boy who cried wolf. It's just gonna be cool, you want out again, good for you, nothing's different. And like you said, though, a very solid season for Dubois in Winnipeg, and not a very good team overall, especially down the stretch for Winnipeg as well. So it's obviously a productive player, somebody that Montreal could take, but who would they move out really? I've seen people go, oh, Nick Suzuki. No, you're not going to move Nick Suzuki. Josh Anderson, apparently they've already rejected a move for. I put that in air quotes because I'm not 100% sure about that. Who do you move? A Brendan Gallagher? Would he play in Winnipeg? I don't know about that.
Yeah, listen to Locked On Canadians, because I know that they've been talking about this and they have the true inside expertise there. Coming up next, we are absolutely going to be diving in to an LA legend, Dustin Brown, and how his number's being retired, and he's getting a statue outside of the Staples Center. But Brett,
That's what it's
I
called.
believe it sure is. Brett, but I believe you have something to share with us before we move on.
Yes, I want to tell everybody more about Bet Online. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events on the number one source for all your odds and lines and games. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, even golf. I don't know why they put even golf before esports, because I feel like that just makes sense. But hey, no, full love to esports. I'm just saying. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information, from live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. They have you covered. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Like you mentioned, Jess, we are going to head south, I guess. Well, south for me, south east, I guess. We're going to Los Angeles, my favorite place, the city of angels, because they're honoring, I guess, more of a devil in Dustin Brown. As you mentioned, he's getting a statue in front of, let's be real, it's the Staples Center. It's the house that Dustin Brown played in, is the Staples Center. And yes, but you mentioned before a couple other Los Angeles area legends. How do you feel about that? Most namely, Kobe Bryant.
It's weird.
Yeah.
To me, it's really weird. Like, I'm sure that they're waiting for, a special way to honor Kobe and probably Gianna too. But Dustin Brown?
Hey,
like, I would expect like Jonathan Quick to have a statue before Dustin Brown.
Well, and he just retired. Like, he just played his final game against the Edmonton Oilers at Rogers Place in
like
April.
2 months ago.
Yeah, like let's breathe here for a second. The guy hasn't even found his next like vacation home, or I guess his retirement home. Are you really? We're already erecting a statue for this guy. Like you said, there's Jonathan Quick, Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty. I know all those guys are still playing, but still, like
I feel like they should still be ahead of Dustin Brown. And that, again, I don't mean that in like a super disrespectful way, but I don't know. I just didn't think that he would be the first LA King of that dynasty, if you will, to get a statue. I know that Quick is a UFA next year, so I wouldn't be surprised if they have that statue in process right now. They might have gotten a 2-for-1 deal at the sculptors. So these numbers here, looking at Dustin Brown's career numbers, so it doesn't look like, I'm just dogging on him.
Yeah, just bashing on him. Like, let's be real though. He was a captain for those teams. So
right. Yeah.
So, but yes, continue, please.
He was 4 games shy of 1,300 games. That's a lot of games. He had an 18-year career, 325 career goals, 387 assists, so 712 career points. And you pointed out a stat that was insane to me.
The man hits. He was a hammer in his career.
3,100 hits. Almost 3,200.
3,185 to be exact. That is crazy. That is a lot of ice packs after a game.
Right. Like, I'm thinking of like how sore I am like after just like a bumpy car ride, like hitting the potholes. I can't imagine like throwing my entire weight into someone.
Yeah.
I just need an ice pack thinking about that. He's blocked quite a few shots too with 332.
Ooh.
That's again more ice packs.
Yeah.
I am very, excited to see. No, not excited. It's very sad to see, that wave of players call it a career and unfortunately have to leave the game. But it's really great to look back on their career and be like, that's right. Yeah, they won all these championships, but look at these numbers. Look at the legend and the legacy that they've built for themselves. And, I don't know if he has kids. I'm going to assume he does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But bringing your kids to like the Staples Center, being like, that's me.
Yeah.
Talk to me when you have a statue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just sharing those special moments, and it's bigger than hockey when it comes to a lot of things like that. And congratulations, obviously, that's the most important part here.
Well, and the thing is so I went to his 1000th game, which was 296 games ago. But it just happened to be on my birthday against the Vegas Golden Knights, so went to go see it. And the adoration from everybody in the crowd, all the LA Kings fans of Dustin Brown was apparent. Like everybody had
Wow.
Dustin Brown shirt, jersey. I mean, obviously they had the Quicks and whatever, but it's so loud for everything Dustin Brown did. It was a very emotional night, to be honest with you, because he did mean a lot to this organization. He brought the cup to them. It was those teams we were mentioning before we came on were exciting to watch. They had on each line somebody who could score, somebody who could go out there and get in pucks in deep and play technical, and then somebody who is going to punch you in the face and make you remember that you're playing hockey, not the pickup hockey, so it was a fun team. It was a Daryl Sutter led team too as well, and just he fit that mold perfectly. It was the Staples Center, as it should rightfully be named. It was rocking every time Dustin Brown was doing his thing and in his prime. I guess it makes sense. I wondered, like you said, they have the 2-for-1. I wonder once everybody, the Doughty, the Kopitar, the Quick retire, wonder if they'll have just kind of something for all of them. Maybe they'll make it into something special, but yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's the statue of outside of Fenway Park of Ted Williams, Johnny Pesky, and I'm drawing a blank, but it's 3 players and it's just like the boys of the ballpark or something it's called. So I wonder if they'll do something like that for the upcoming retirees or whenever that happens. But that's a bridge we'll cross when we get there.
Yeah, at the Staples Center.
Yeah. Hopefully by then it'll be renamed.
Yes.
Staples will buy it back.
It will forever be the Staples Center.
Absolutely. Anything else on Dustin Brown before we get to talk about one of your favorite players?
I'm just happy, low-key, that the Edmonton Oilers don't have to play him anymore.
Yeah, same for Calgary. Well, thanks for your service and dedication, but this is good.
Enjoy Sycamoose or wherever you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Coming up next, we are going to talk about Jesse Puljujarvi. I mispronounce his name all the time, and I feel so bad, but hopefully I nailed it that time. Coming up next, and his latest contract extension with the Oilers. All right, Brett. You have the whiteboards. For those who aren't watching on YouTube, he has whiteboards for every segment, and he just whipped it out. He's ready. He was taking notes feverishly or frivolously, I can't talk, before the show, and let's go. 1-year contract extension, avoiding arbitration, $3 million. What does this look like, and what does this mean for the Oilers?
Well, on the surface, for a fan, You sit there and you go, yes, the Bison King is back. You're a very solid hockey player. Let's be real. Yes, Puljujarvi, he battled some injuries at most points throughout the year, only 65 games. For him, he would have liked to have more. He came back from COVID during the Christmas break, and he also had a very tough, I believe it was a shoulder injury or a leg injury. He got a shoulder injury in the playoffs, but a very kind of injury riddled season ish for him, and wasn't necessarily able to ride that high that he had off the top of the season. Now, the thing is like you said, it's a 1 year, $3 million contract. Well, for Jesse Puljujarvi, that's a pretty good deal. For the Edmonton Oilers, you're sitting there and you go, okay, well, we still have arbitration on August 7th with Kyler Yamamoto. And you still have to re-sign your other RFA and Ryan McLeod, and you only have $2.7 million in cap space because of the dead cap that you have over the LTIR with Mike Smith and Oscar Klefbom. So you're kind of pinned. So like I mentioned, on the surface, it looks very nice, but you got still a little bit to do, because that $3 million does kind of pin your hands. If it was something a little less, maybe a 2.5, then sure. Then that makes more sense. But $3 million, Kasperi Kapanen got what, $5.2 million?
So
It's tough. It's very tough, but I'm very curious if we could see a sign and trade over the next potentially week for Jesse Puljujarvi.
yeah, that was kind of my first thought was, they avoided arbitration. He was able to, negotiate a little bit, however it works. Bless anyone who can argue over money, because I crumble. I'm like, okay, here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, give me whatever. It is
Yeah,
what it is.
fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like, negotiating, no. I can negotiate with anything but money. But I really feel like they're going to end up having to flip him.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to. I don't think they want to.
Well, the thing is, they have Warren Fogle, who has a $2.75 million cap space, who would be very helpful on a couple of other teams. Then you also have a Tyson Barrie, who sits at a $4.5 million cap hit, which would free a lot. Then you could, Kyler Yamamoto has to be sitting looking at that contract going, excuse me, he's getting 3. I gotta get at least 3.5. Like,
Right.
what? So, that also straps the Oilers a little bit more. So, is that a team friendly contract for a team somewhere else with Jesse Puljujarvi? You're getting a very solid hockey player in Jesse Puljujarvi. People deem me an analytics guy. I bring 2 numbers, advanced stats to the table, and that is it. It's the same 2 every time, and it's because they make the most sense. But it's goals for and goals against per 60 minutes. So basically, if you're on the ice for 60 minutes, what the average goals for or goals against would be per 60 minutes. For Jesse Puljujarvi, they're very impressive. In all situations, goals against per 60 minutes, so defensively, he sat at a 1.88 for the Edmonton Oilers this past season, which would have been was first on the Edmonton Oilers. Then at 5-on-5, he had a 1.8, so just taking 8 out, which was also first on the team. Then on the power play, he was first in goals for with 12 on a very good Oilers power play.
Wow.
So he's not only very productive defensively and preventing the puck from going in his own net, but he can also produce offensively as well, very quietly.
Yeah, I was not expecting those numbers at all. And I think that any team that knows how to read, what's it called? Just natural stat trick or whatever.
Yeah, whatever those snake oil things are. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, it's not that I don't buy into them. I just cannot do numbers.
Well, that's the thing. They just throw numbers there and they're like, this is a good player. And you're like, okay. Why?
Yeah. And I'm like, what does this bar graph mean? Why is this one up? Why is this one down? What does it mean if it's a different color?
Trust me. You've read a graph before, right? Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same way.
I would not be surprised if, he does get traded. And I think that any team sees that contract and is like, bring it on.
Yeah.
And you get that kind of player at that number, even though it's only for a year, that still, if you're in a true cap crunch right now, hey, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's a good number. You revisit it next year. And what is it? 2 years, the cap goes up by $10 million.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it's like between 2 and 5 years. I don't know. The world's on fire. We might not see that day. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think about when talking about the game of hockey.
Yeah, the future.
Yeah. I do think that it's an interesting point for him to avoid the arbitration.
Yeah.
Because I think he knows, his agent knows, I think both sides know that this is a situation where they were going to move on from him, but it makes the most sense instead of letting him, sign his QO and just peacing out.
Right.
Just, sign something, whatever you can do, and meet somewhere in the middle without that neutral party, and again, boiling any of that bad blood. I hate it. I was reading through arbitration processes, and I was like, oh, no, I couldn't.
It's not friendly.
No.
It's not friendly.
And like, how do you go to work and say, my boss thinks I'm bad at this?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You just have to go to a meeting and say, "Oh, well, you're really not that good. You're not as good as you think." And you go, "Yes, I am. Look at this." And you're like, "Ah, well, no, really,
actually.
no." Yeah, exactly. And then at the end, you have somebody go, "Yeah, no, they were right. You're really not that good." But
no, like that would be so embarrassing.
Yeah, 100%. The interesting thing, just to kind of bring it back to, because you mentioned it was like he's a very good hockey player. He's like no matter what, well, not no matter what, but in the pedigree that he's in, we already talked about a guy that was already in his draft as well, in Pierre-Luc Dubois. In that draft, which was the 2016 draft, the first overall pick was Austin Matthews, who's still a Toronto Maple Leaf.
All right.
Yeah, he's decent. Second overall was Winnipeg, and they took Patrik Laine, who they traded to the third overall team, Columbus, for Pierre-Luc Dubois. The other way, it traded. Fourth overall pick was Jesse Puljujarvi. Okay, fine. He's still an Oiler. Fifth overall pick was Olli Juolevi, traded. And then the sixth overall pick was Matthew Tkachuk, who just got traded as well. So 4 of the top 6 picks in that trade have been traded. Or in that draft, have been traded.
I'm going to say nice things. I think that players are moving on from, which this is a whole other can of worms that we could talk about, but they're moving on from this kind of like, I need to be here my entire career because I was drafted by this team and I need to build a legacy here. Mm-hmm. I want to say selfishly, but like, it's not selfish. They want to go where their quality of life is going to be good. I would much rather live and have my winters in sunny Florida
100%.
Than the freezing cold snow. And someone from Buffalo, New York got really mad at me for saying that. And I'm like, I live in New York. I live in upstate New York. I know the winters. I hate it here. And when there's 6 feet of snow outside and doesn't melt until June, like, if someone was like, hey, like, you can go play there for like $9 million, like, go do that. Okay, bye.
Where do I sign?
Back at my house. I'm on my way.
Yeah, sounds good. Using that $9 million, I'll just buy a new house. Don't even worry about it.
Right, exactly. Everything inside. Who cares?
Yeah,
the new buyers. Like
100%. No, 100%. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that, I refuse to accept, I guess, more or less would be that there is somebody behind or underneath that helmet that needs to go home to their family, who has a family, somebody to deal with and have real life issues just like you, Yes, they are there to entertain you, but they do have responsibilities as well. And you are starting to kind of see maybe the NHL to turn more into a me versus we league, like you said, just I got to set myself up. Like you heard Johnny Gaudreau in all of these
Yes.
conversations after his signing, he goes, you know what? Like I'm having a kid. We're not too far away from family. We're close enough where they can come and visit, but we're far enough where we can do our own thing. And that has nothing to do with. He never once mentioned Columbus Blue Jackets hockey team, not once in that. And that's the realistic nature of the game now.
Right, and I think that's okay. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, they're going to become like NBA players and like only. Okay, and you know what? That's okay.
Yeah.
Because again, your best interest is what matters. The player's best interest, not the fans. You know?
Yeah.
But
your best interest too, fans. We're here for your best interest.
Locked on.
We're not here to dog on you at all.
Yeah.
But there's a realistic nature to it.
Yeah, and I hope that someone listening to this says, you know what, they're so right, and we changed their mind.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll have a couple that go, these guys are idiots. But that's
like,
everything.
People off the air.
Yeah. It is what it is. You can't make everybody happy. We should probably pull it around there and call it there. Yes. As it's been kind of a weirdly quiet week, but even today, I feel like we've had a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot, and I think that there's just it's been quiet, like you said, a quiet week. But I feel like with the arbitration hearings coming up in a couple weeks, we're gonna start seeing more, obviously, signings, trades more than likely, and again, wherever you're listening to your podcasts, you can find your Locked On NHL every day, 5 days a week, even through the off season, and of course, whatever your hockey team is, we're here for you 3 days a week. So Locked On Flames, 3 times a week now. Oilers will be 3 times a week. And unless like something major happens, I'm sticking to those 3 because this is our off season and we deserve a break. But also we don't want to oversaturate your feeds. Brett, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me personally at the Real Holden 40, but you don't care about me. You care about the Oilers, and you can find me at Locked On Oilers there. Like you mentioned, Jessa, I'm going to stick to the 3 days a week coming up next month because we were talking about prospects in July. So, yeah, we're going to figure something out coming up over the next month for sure. Where can they find you, Jess?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto. I don't think I use my show account very much. I'm still learning how to multitask with that, but LO_Flames pod. And you can find the show anywhere you find Locked On NHL, Locked On Oilers. So I almost said Facebook. No. Apple, Audible, Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn, anywhere you get your podcasts. And the next episode will be out tomorrow for Thursday. We have you covered from every day, A to Z. And if you're in the comments and you want to share where you think Nazem Kadri's going, Calgary. I say do it.
Calgary.
I think because nothing's been announced, he's with the Islanders.
Whoa!
I think because Lou Lamoriello keeps things under lock and key. And I'm sure as soon as I post this there will be something. And it'll be old, so I'll have to go in and edit it. But thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On NHL, and we will see you next Wednesday for Western Conference Wednesday.